Before we begin taking those in the comments of the previous Canucks video that was made after yesterday's Oilers game, oh boy, what a doozy that was, who commented Michigan Wolverines. If you want a chance to be featured in the next one, then hey, stick around to the end of this. But yes, I know, Luke Hughes would not necessarily be the best draft pick positionally for the Vancouver Canucks at the 2021 NHL Entry Draft. There certainly are other top prospects in this draft that would fulfill the Canucks' needs more so than Luke Hughes would, because Luke Hughes is a left-handed defenseman, and the Canucks going into the long-term future have a few left-handed defensemen already projected to being on their team. Devil's advocate to that, though, Luke Hughes does indeed play on the right side despite being a left-handed defenseman, so there's that. But I do understand that Brandt Clarke, he's a guy that would be seen by others as a more valuable pick to the Canucks because he's a right-handed D. You have other forwards that people might consider, and you have, in fact, other defensemen, even on the left side, like Owen Power, that I know a few Canucks fans might be interested in more. I'm not talking about those prospects here. We're talking about Luke Hughes, mostly just because of the drama going on between the two fan bases of the Vancouver Canucks and the New Jersey Devils. Now, we made this video already, like a few months ago, I think it was before the season as well, talking about Luke Hughes, a guy who has actually been profiled on this YouTube channel since like 2019, I believe. Something like that. It's been a long time. But Luke Hughes is indeed a top prospect at the 2021 NHL Entry Draft, and as you can tell by his last name, he is indeed the brother of Quinn Hughes and Jack Hughes, Vancouver Canucks defenseman Quinn and a New Jersey Devils franchise center in Jack. And with the NHL standings being the way they are, and the Vancouver Canucks actually winning yesterday's game against the Edmonton Oilers, the Canucks now have more points in the standings than the New Jersey Devils do this season. The Devils had themselves a total of 45 points in 56 games played and 19 regulation plus overtime wins. The Vancouver Canucks before yesterday had themselves 45 points exactly too, but they had 52 games played, meaning they had 4 games left, and their regulation overtime metric was at 18. Therefore, before yesterday's action against Edmonton, Vancouver was actually below New Jersey in the standings, meaning that in the NHL Draft Lottery odds, New Jersey would have had a lower percentage chance at drafting a higher pick. But now, things have changed, because the Vancouver Canucks beat Edmonton yesterday in what was the Oilers' last game of the year. They pushed themselves upwards to 47 points. The New Jersey Devils are now underneath Vancouver, and you have Devils fans all over social media rejoicing, saying, yes, Vancouver won! Vancouver is ahead of us in the standings. We now have better lottery odds at getting Luke Hughes. Assuming none of us win the lottery, we will still be ahead of Vancouver in the standings for the draft, and therefore we will have our chance at taking Jack's younger brother. Things were made even worse when Jack Hughes himself made some comments that were documented on social media over here. This is what Jack Hughes said on a certain NTDP D-man. If he's there, I want us to take him. I'm not shy about saying that. Luke's going to find his way. He's a great player. I'd love to have him here in New Jersey. If it doesn't work out, it does not work out. So, before we get even further into that, Luke Hughes is a guy whose profile, we've already documented it. If you want to see how he plays, what's his strengths, his weaknesses, and all that, go ahead and check out the Why I Want video. It's going over the entire scouting report that we have done for Luke Hughes. Long story short, though, he's a guy that could go first overall. Some scouting outlets have him at number 1, others have him as low as number 11, some have him at 8, so it really depends on who you ask, but Luke Hughes is indeed one of these guys that could go in the top 5, or he could go in the top 10, because the gap between number 1 and number 7 overall in this draft is a lot wider than it has been in previous years. But with the Canucks ultimately establishing themselves as a higher-seeded team in the standings, hey, they all of a sudden have themselves virtually no chance to get Luke Hughes if New Jersey is going to go out there and get him, unless they actually win the lottery themselves. In fact, it's kind of funny seeing how things go for the New Jersey Devils and their fan base. Here's a post on their subreddit. With Vancouver beating the Oilers, they move ahead of us in the standings, leaving us going into the lottery with the 4th best odds. Give me that Hughes. The top comment here from MikeyDude00 says this: if the Canucks win one more game, I believe they jump ahead of Columbus, Detroit, and San Jose. That would be nice, because I want their lottery odds as low as possible so they don't jump us and take Luke. Man, the Luke Hughes battle is really going hardball, isn't it? And yes, if you take a look at that, if the Vancouver Canucks get one more win, they have themselves 47 points right now. One more win would put them at 49 points, and they actually would have the tiebreaker with San Jose. So one more win lowers their draft lottery odds even further. In fact, they have 3 games left. If they win all 3, they get 53 total points. They would be down there at 21st in the NHL, or 22nd, or whatever it is, meaning that they would have gone from 4th last all the way to 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th last, something like that. Yeah, they could really screw themselves up over here with the draft lottery odds if they start winning. Now, I would normally be not really all too cognizant of that, especially in this year. I've said it the entire time, hey, with Seattle in the mix, things get a little bit wonky, but the Canucks are in a spot where this draft is so wide open that it doesn't really matter if you draft 3rd, 5th, or even 7th, because the guys could be shuffled depending on who you ask. But for Vancouver, just seeing the Luke Hughes contest go down the way that it has, it does kind of make me feel a little bit salty, especially since you're seeing the Canucks go out there and win games against Edmonton, like Matthew Highmore going out there scoring 2 pretty good goals, Travis Boyd getting offense now too, the bottom 6 actually contributing. The question you ask yourself is, where was this the previous few weeks? Why do they start winning now? It's the Vancouver special. You get eliminated from the playoffs, and all of a sudden, the fan base is all like, okay, let's start losing more games to lower our draft odds and actually give ourselves a better pick. Why don't we do that? Because we're already out. And they start winning, and you're like, wow, why could they have not won games like that before they got eliminated, dude? I get it. It's partly because, oh, this team is fighting for their pride. This team is auditioning their bottom 6 for next year because they have guys that could come back later, who might not come back later, and if you really want to secure yourself a job for 2021, 2022, you play now and you play well. And you're playing against teams like Edmonton, who are quite literally just kind of cruising along. They're waiting until the playoffs because they're not going to go ahead and give it their all in game number 56 when Connor McDavid already has 100 points. You guys are already starting your backup goalie, and you guys are just waiting for Winnipeg. It's kind of interesting to see how that goes down, but of course, it is kind of frustrating if you're a fan who's like, yeah, okay, there is no long-term benefit to winning anymore, so why are we still winning? And it kind of goes back to the argument that's like, okay, you know you cannot make your players intentionally play to lose. That is not possible in the realm of possibility here. You're always going to get guys who go out there and play their hearts out and actually play to win. It's just unfortunate that the way they're winning is in the most meaningless way possible, because now they're already out and now they're pushing themselves further down in the draft standings. But for Luke Hughes specifically, with Jack Hughes coming out and saying that he wants him, and with the Vancouver Canucks fan base also kind of being in a position where it's like, you know, Aquilini might want that Luke Hughes, you know, just to get that marketing opportunity. Oh, Quinn Hughes and Luke Hughes, look, we have a tandem, a brother tandem, just like the Sedins before. This is a chance to market the team in a different way, and I get that that's probably a perspective that might have some truth to it, but of course it's not confirmed. Either way, though, if New Jersey goes out there and get themselves Luke Hughes, that would make a lot of sense because, hey, they are kind of weak on defense long-term in terms of their prospect depth. Sure, Ty Smith is great, but Ty Smith is just Ty Smith, although the same argument is kind of present for New Jersey that a right-side defender might be seen as more valuable because their right side is a little bit less secure than that left side, because at the end of the day, you still do, at the very least, have Ty Smith. But for Vancouver, there have been so many Canucks fans out there talking about how they would rather have somebody else than Luke Hughes, they'd rather have Power, they'd rather have Clarke, and those are totally fine perspectives. It's just, when it comes to the individual Luke Hughes race between Devils and Canucks fans, yeah, looks like New Jersey's one ahead with this one. So, talk to me in the comments, Star Wars, if you made it to the end of this video, for a chance to be featured in the next Canucks video. Obviously Star Wars, because we're talking about Luke Hughes, we're talking about Luke, yeah. Connections there. Makes a lot of sense, right? Talk to me in the comments, though, what you think about Luke Hughes, the odds, the lottery, and all that stuff, and everything in between. I hope you enjoyed this. Was Josh Wilson 99, and bye.